Chapter 10. Jared had never been around a woman more capable and self-assured than Ashley. He liked it. If someone had handed him a knife and a fish and told him to clean it to be eaten, he would have had no clue what to do, and probably would have screwed everything up trying. But Ashley had made it look easy. He tried to pay attention so he could possibly do it himself someday, but she was too quick and it hadn't occurred to him to ask her to go slowly and explain. He'd have to remember to next time. He hoped there was a next time. Inside, Jared watched as Ashley laid the fish in a large bowl on the counter. "How are you going to cook it?" he asked as she washed her hands. She tilted her head and wrinkled her nose. "I'm not sure yet. I thought about frying it, but he's a good size, and by the time the thickest part cooks through, the belly will be tough. It'll turn out better if I bake it." Not having any experience with fresh fish, Jared sat on one of the bar stools on the far side of the counter and watched, asking questions now and then. He wasn't letting this chance slip away like he had with cleaning. "Now what?" he asked as she slid the baking sheet with the fish into the oven and closed the door. "Now I fix something to go with it. It won't take long, so that limits our options." She went to the fridge and looked inside for a moment before turning to look at him. "A salad and baked potatoes sound good?" "Sure." Ashley moved around the tiny kitchen with a practiced ease that told him she cooked more of her meals than not. Jared started to get up to help but realized he would be in her way. "Is there anything I can do to help?" "No, I've got it. This won't take long." The microwave beeped just before the timer on the oven buzzed. Ashley shut off the screaming timer and took the trout from the oven and set it on top of the stove. She let it sit while she finished with the salad and took out a pair of plates, then unwrapped the foil. As she peeled the thin sheet of metal away, the skin peeled away from the pink-gray flesh. "Want to see a cool trick?" She looked up at him with a mischievous grin. "Sure." He was curious what she was going to do. Ashley took a fork and pulled a couple bits of skin away from the nearly whole fish lying on the pan, then glanced up to make sure he was watching before she slowly lifted something where the head had joined the body before she'd cut it off earlier. Jared couldn't see exactly what she was doing, but the result was obvious. She was lifting one side of the meat from the other. As she kept lifting, she slid a spatula into the gap to help support the cooked meat. Then after a moment, the whole thing, even the tail fin, separated from the side still laying on the baking sheet. Jared blinked. "Wow." She moved the lifted fish to one of the plates and flipped it meat side down before lifting a nearly fully articulated skeleton off. As she pulled the bones free, he was reminded of a cartoon he'd watched as a child. What was that cat's name? The one who ate fish whole and pulled the bones out still looking like a fish? Garfield, that's it. Ta-da! She held the strange set of bones up for him to see. He didn't know what to say. It was cool and creepy at the same time. "Wow. It's harder than it looks." She dropped the bones into the trash and went back to putting together their meal.